Good morning. These are your CMR news headlines for January 9th.
In breaking news tonight, a divided U.S. Supreme Court rejected President-elect Donald Trump's request to stop his sentencing in the New York hush money case, scheduled for Friday. The court, in a rationale for its order Thursday, said Trump could address his issues with a verdict through appeals, and that the burden that sentencing will impose on the president-elect's responsibilities is relatively insubstantial in light of the trial court's stated intent to impose a sentence of unconditional discharge after a brief virtual hearing. Conservative Justices Clarence Thomas, Samuel Alito, Neil Gorsuch, and Brett Kavanaugh would have granted Trump a reprieve. The decision closes off the last legal avenue for Trump to halt his sentencing, which takes place just 10 days before his inauguration to a second term. A Manhattan jury in May found Trump guilty of 34 felony counts of falsifying business records to conceal a payment to adult film star Stormy Daniels. This was the only one of Trump's criminal charges to go to trial, making him the first former or future U.S. president to be convicted of criminal charges.
Emergency services responded to a bomb threat at Grand Harbor Plaza yesterday morning, prompting a full evacuation of the commercial complex. Police, fire services, and explosives experts arrived at the scene at 10:24 a.m. after receiving the threat report. The plaza's retail stores, businesses, school, and parking areas were immediately evacuated. Following a thorough search of the premises by police and the explosives expert, the area was deemed safe, and normal business operations resumed. The police are actively investigating the nature of the threat. Anyone with information is urged to contact the Georgetown Police Station at 949-4222.
Wayne Bellafonte, 33, has been sentenced to life imprisonment with a minimum term of 35 years before being eligible for parole for his role in a deadly shooting outside Globe Bar that claimed 2 lives in July 2021. The sentence was handed down on Thursday, January 9th, following his conviction last year on 2 counts of murder, 1 count of attempted murder, and possession of an unlicensed firearm. The court heard that on July 1st, 2021, Bellafonte and 2 accomplices arrived at Globe Bar on Martin Drive in a white Volkswagen, armed with firearms. The group, wearing masks, opened fire on men standing outside the establishment, firing approximately 31 shots from 3 different weapons. 1 victim died at the scene, while a second succumbed to his injuries at the hospital. A 3rd victim survived the attack. In what prosecutors described as showing a significant degree of planning and coordination, surveillance footage captured the assailants switching vehicles after the shooting, abandoning the Volkswagen for a black Honda Accord on Watler Road. Bellafonte, who was injured during the incident, later changed his clothes before seeking medical attention. DNA evidence from blood samples linked him to both vehicles. The judge emphasized the premeditated nature of the attack, citing multiple aggravating factors, including the use of multiple vehicles and firearms, the public location of the shooting, and attempts to conceal evidence. Bellafonte, who has 26 previous convictions, maintained his innocence throughout the proceedings and has not revealed the identities of his alleged accomplices. The surviving victim continues to live in fear, knowing that at least 2 other suspects remain at large. Jamaican national Miguel Andrew Wright, 42, was sentenced to 16 months in prison for abducting and assaulting his girlfriend in an incident that occurred on August 4, 2024. Justice Cheryl Richards handed down the sentence in the Grand Court of the Cayman Islands on January 7, 2025. Wright, who appeared via video link from Northwood Prison, pleaded guilty to charges of abduction, assault causing actual bodily harm, and causing fear or provocation of violence. The court heard that Wright had lost control of himself during the incident, which involved a prolonged assault on his girlfriend following an argument outside her workplace in East End. Justice Richards noted that while the victim's physical injuries were assessed at the low level, Wright's culpability was considered high due to the extended nature of the assault. The judge took into account a social inquiry report that assessed Wright as having a low risk of reoffending. Despite a plea from the victim, who told the court she had reconciled with Wright and requested he not be imprisoned, Justice Richards proceeded with the sentencing.
The Royal Cayman Islands Police Service, RCIPS, is investigating a major jewelry heist that occurred at a commercial property on Main Street in Georgetown during the early hours of December 31, 2024. According to police reports, 2 suspects gained entry to the store at approximately 1:30 a.m., breaking multiple display cases and making off with a substantial quantity of jewelry. The perpetrators were reported to have fled the scene on foot in an unknown direction. In a development on January 6th, police arrested a 40-year-old West Bay resident in connection with the burglary. The suspect has since been released on bail as investigations continue. However, the stolen jewelry remains unrecovered. The RCIPS reminds the public that handling stolen goods is a serious offense under the Penal Code 2024 revision. According to Section 260, individuals who knowingly receive, retain, remove, or dispose of stolen goods face up to 14 years imprisonment.
The formal opening of Grand Court for 2025 will take place this morning with Chief Justice, the Honorable Justice Margaret Ramsey Hale, and other speakers addressing the challenges and opportunities involved in the administration of justice in the Cayman Islands.
The Cayman Islands judiciary has learned that the newly opened Poinciana Rehabilitation Facility in East End will not accommodate mentally ill defendants who come before the courts, continuing the existing critical gap in the justice system's ability to handle such cases. This revelation came during today's Grand Court opening ceremony, where Chief Justice Margaret Ramsey Hale expressed significant concern about the lack of appropriate facilities for mentally ill defendants who need treatment rather than incarceration. Justice Ramsey Hale highlighted that without appropriate treatment facilities, Northwood Prison remains the only option for courts dealing with mentally ill defendants. These are persons who ought not, for good reasons which should be self-evident, to be placed within the prison, she emphasized. But without a long-term care solution for these defendants, the prison will be the only place of safety to which a court can remand someone who should actually be treated and not punished, the Chief Justice stated.
Turning to regional news out of Jamaica, where several areas are under mandatory curfew. A 72-hour curfew has been imposed in sections of Denham Town in downtown Kingston. The curfew started at 8 a.m. on Thursday, January 9th, and will end at 8 a.m. on Sunday, January 12th. During the curfew, persons are required to remain within their premises unless otherwise authorized by the ground commander. A 48-hour curfew that was imposed in sections of Green Island, Hanover, has been extended. The curfew runs from 6 p.m. on Thursday, January 9th, and ends at 6 p.m. on Saturday, January 11th. 4 major wildfires are ravaging Los Angeles County at an unprecedented rate, with the Palisades fire alone consuming 17,234 acres and destroying over 1,000 structures in just days. The combined fires have scorched more than 116,000 acres, spreading with shocking speed, in some areas burning an acre per second. Over 7,500 firefighters battled the blazes as calmer winds Thursday morning offered a glimmer of hope for containment. "We can turn a corner if conditions hold," said Cal Fire Battalion Chief Brent Pasqua, though warning crews remain vigilant for wind changes. The human toll continues to mount, with 5 deaths reported in the Eaton fire near Altadena. More than 362,000 homes and businesses have lost power, while thousands face mandatory evacuations. The fire's rapid spread has overwhelmed emergency resources, with crews reporting flames moving faster than engines could respond during Tuesday's 80 mph wind conditions.
The Cayman Islands Football Association, CIFA, has announced the launch of its inaugural Women's Futsal Super League, scheduled to begin in early 2025 and continue through July. Futsal, played on a smaller pitch with 5 players per side, emphasizes technical skills and quick decision-making. The sport originated in Uruguay and Brazil, where limited access to full-size fields led to the development of a game that prioritizes close ball control and spatial awareness. The introduction of the Women's Futsal Super League marks an important step for our female athletes here in the Cayman Islands, said CIFA Women's Technical Director Martha Godet. The 2025 season will feature 12 teams competing in both a home and away league format and an FA Cup knockout competition. Matches will be played primarily on weekday evenings, with some weekend fixtures possible. The league will operate under FIFA futsal laws of the game, supervised by the CIFA Competitions Department.
Thank you for tuning in to CMR's News Buzz. These headlines and more can be found on our website, caymanmileroad.com. And don't forget to follow our WhatsApp news channels for all the latest news and alerts.